James Kaufman, World News Report today. NOAA has issued a geomagnetic storm watch for November 6th and November 7th. They're looking for a G3 or strong geomagnetic storm. A CME is likely to arrive and influence Earth and lead to increased geomagnetic activity. A coronal mass ejection, or CME, is an eruption of solar material and magnetic fields. When they arrive at Earth, a geomagnetic storm can result. Watches at this level are infrequent, but not uncommon. A CME is anticipated to reach and impact Earth with an elevated geomagnetic response, and dependent upon the orientation of the embedded magnetic field, the potential exists for a very strong storm. Limited minor effects to some technological infrastructure is possible, but usually mitigatable. The aurora may become visible over many of the northern states and some of the lower Midwest, all the way down to perhaps Oregon. The general public should consider monitoring our webpage for the latest information and updates about this geomagnetic storm. A coronal mass ejection is anticipated to impact Earth as early as Thursday evening, November 6th Eastern Time. Therefore, we have a G3 strong watch in effect on the 6th and 7th of November. There is a fair measure of confidence in an Earth-directed aspect to this coronal mass ejection, and a moderate level of confidence in timing of the coronal mass ejection's arrival, which we anticipate with a range from as early as Thursday evening to Friday morning. However, as is usual with these events, we have less confidence in the intensity of the results and the geomagnetic storm upon eventual coronal mass ejection arrival and passage. Therefore, this G3 watch represents our forecast based on potential. We will have to wait until the coronal mass ejection arrives at the Solar Wind Observatory spacecraft located at Lagrange Point 1L1, which is 1 million miles from Earth, to actually realize what the intensity of this coronal mass ejection is. This is when we'll finally know the true speed, magnetic strength, magnetic field orientation of this coronal mass ejection. All these factors contribute to any needed warning decisions. This is why accurate observations from that L1 Lagrange 1 location are so critical, and why a much-needed replacement of that spacecraft in L1 is warranted. The normal order of events for a CME impact at Earth are the arrival of the shock front, followed later by the magnetic cloud. CME shock arrival can lead to immediate and sudden escalated geomagnetic response. After shock passage, a strong magnetic field contained within the coronal mass ejection arrives. Sometime later, that is when the geomagnetic activity can increase dramatically if the magnetic field is favorable, aligned opposite of Earth's. Now we await the coronal mass ejection's arrival at L1, so continue to visit the nation's official source of space weather warning and alerts, NOAA Space Weather Prediction Center, for the latest information. So there is your warning, folks, and I've never seen them go into such detail. They must be fairly worried about this coronal mass ejection that doesn't look very strong on LASCO C3. God bless. Please share, subscribe, and always remember that anything is possible. Bizarro world.